I don't know who needs to hear this, but fellas, she is not going to be the solution to your problems. What is going to be the solution to your problems is acquiring the skills, the resources, money, etc. to fulfill yourself in your purpose and your vision. And if you do not have a purpose or a vision, that's okay, but at the same time, maybe just start thinking about that a little bit because time is running out. They say that time is money, right? And if that's the case, then I'm owed a lot because I've missed out on a lot in the past due to time being wasted and time being pretty much stolen from me. And I'm not necessarily complaining or anything, it's just the fact of what happened. And I didn't even know it at the time. I didn't know it because I was a beta male that really didn't understand the dynamic between males and females, and I didn't understand heterosexual intersexual dynamics, that is, between heterosexual relationships. And I've got some notes down here because I don't want to skip a beat in this video, but more women than ever are choosing to be goofballs with losers and dating losers than ever before. Why is this the case, and what exactly do I mean by this? Now, I'm not saying it's all women, of course, but there's a lot of women that are doing this exact thing. It's almost like they're choosing to sabotage the good relationships because it would actually be requiring her to change her own behavior. And she does not want to change her behavior, which is fine. If she wants to continue living in sin the way that she wants to, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing you can do about that. You can guide a woman or you can walk away from her. And unfortunately, too many men out here are chasing after women that don't even really care about them or the situation that they have to offer. And I know this because I was once one of those guys. I was once one of those beta males that would be an orbiter, right, of certain women. And they weren't even, looking back, they weren't even quality women. And so nowadays, it's really baffling because once you reach a certain point in your manhood that you've developed yourself to an extent, you have certain resources available, you have certain skills available, you've built yourself up to know what's what and who's who. You know what kind of look and how women are looking at you when they look at you. You're not trying to figure out any kind of games or anything. You know right off the brink, okay, she's playing a game or she's not playing a game. And even though you might have a few interactions with a woman and it might not be clear her intentions, she might play off as innocent. She might come across as authentic and free-spirited. But then after the third or fourth interaction and doing different things with this woman, and like going, if you're really big into fitness or whatever, and you're going to the gym with her, or you're going on a hike, or you're going to cook something, like you want to see how she's interacting with different people in different situations. Even with her family, if you guys get down the line, and with your family, if you guys get down the line with that, you want to see how she's interacting. Vetting a woman is almost 80% of the relationship before it gets started nowadays. And that's just an estimation because that's just how much time and effort it really takes to get involved. But the reason that women are wanting to choose to be goofballs and date losers is because, well, then they have some kind of project to work on in which they can get credit. You see, a lot of men to women are basically robots that can think and do things a certain way for her experience to be heightened or enhanced. That is legitimately how women think. And they may not admit this themselves, but that is how women think. And it just is what it is. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just calling a spade a spade. It doesn't negate the fact, and it doesn't necessarily mean that women, because of who they are, should use and take advantage of men or anybody. But I'm simply saying that their nature is that. So a woman is going to need your proper leadership as a man to guide her to do things. And if she cannot be led, she cannot be guided, she's not going to be submissive to your mission, then she has to go. And women need to know that this is not a gangbang. This is not a relationship that is open-ended for anybody to come in. No, this is us, or it's you go somewhere else. And you don't need to be harsh about it. You just need to state the boundaries, state the facts, and move accordingly. And so when you are interacting with a woman, and nowadays it's so difficult in some ways to really have a quality relationship that is based on healthy boundaries, because women are talking to so many different kinds of people all the time. They've got more access than ever, and so many men are feeding the entitlement of these women. Women's egos are out of control. They really are. And I've had women tell me that they're nervous around me because they know that they have to be on their P's and Q's, basically. Otherwise, I'm going to walk away. And that attracts them, but it also makes them stay on their toes. And a woman even told me that. She's like, I really have to be on my toes around you. Like, you keep me on my toes for sure. And I'm not even trying to. It's just that, well, you said you're going to do that. So if your actions are going to match what you say, then there's going to be no issue with me. But the issue starts to come when you say certain things and you don't follow through. So why should I invest when there's no reciprocation? Why should I invest in any kind of relationship where you're only there temporarily? You're playing, I can see this now very clearly. And again, it might take a couple interactions for you to see this, because a woman will fake femininity with you. It's really hard to tell sometimes in the beginning, because women, even me myself, I've seen some new tricks being played recently. And, you know, that's just where you have to say to yourself, I'm not a trick, and there's no way that I'm going to be interacting with somebody that could be a potential prostitute or acting like a prostitute, okay? You know, tricks are for kids for a reason, right? Tricks are for kids for a reason. So that was kind of a double entendre there. But the point is that sometimes the best thing to do in those situations is to just forgive and forget. Sometimes you don't even need to forgive, depending on the situation and what happens. But if you were investing and you were genuine, and she seemed like she was genuine up until she wasn't, then that's where you can internally say, okay, I forgive you, but I'm going to forget you as well. And you know what's crazy is that every single time that I've left a woman, she's always come back. And it's usually, even if she's already in a relationship, and I was never with this woman necessarily, but I was talking to her. And any man that has been through the ringer with women, specifically with me, what really opened my eyes was a few years ago when I was like 24 years old, was when a married woman who I didn't know was married at the time, we were definitely talking about a future, talking about where we're going. She was 5 years older than me at the time, so she was 29. And we were talking about where things are going, and it was very flirtatious. It was very, it was definitely emotional cheating, okay, on her end. I did not know this, But when I found out that she actually, not only was she married, she had a family at home, I was distraught. I was so, it was almost as if I was physically ill from that experience, because I realized how cunning some of these women out here can be, even when they're in a relationship. And it's almost as if sometimes when women know that you're committed, and this is going for unhealthy women, right? When an unhealthy woman knows that you're committed, she almost gets bored about it. She almost doesn't even want you anymore. And so this is again where you have to understand and vet your women carefully, because it's almost as if as well that the more experience she's had with men, and by experience I mean, y'all know what I'm saying, the pump and dump. Okay, I don't like saying that, but it is what it is. If a more woman has had the pump and dump experience with men, it's almost as if the more numb to love, or the potential to love, she becomes. And it's really sad to see, because I've seen some women that are 20 or 21 years old that have had more than 20 bodies. I don't even like saying that. It's just nasty. Like, oh, I've got 20 bodies. And you're 20. You're 20, 21 years old. And I mean, that's just crazy to me. That means that if you weren't sexually active before you were 18, that means within 2 to 3 years, you've pretty much had a different guy nearly every month and a half or so. That's crazy. That's so crazy. And yet it's almost like women don't even, they're not seeing the repercussions of the relationships that they're choosing to be in, especially if it's casual, until it's later down the line. I've heard some crazy stuff that's happened with women, and women they felt free to tell me these things because I'm not judging. You know, I usually say, if you allow yourself to be relaxed and not judge a woman, she'll tell you a lot of what she's done. And you might be able to sit there internally and think, okay, so she's definitely not wife material. Fantastic. Good to know. It sucks because she's really attractive and we seem to have a connection, but we're not compatible down the line. So there's chemistry, but there's not compatibility. Okay, fine. Sucks, but it is what it is. She's made her choices. I've made mine. And so you can just sit there and listen and then act accordingly. You don't have to ostracize or be critical or anything like that, because God's going to judge her for sure. God's going to judge her absolutely. But it's, and I'm not necessarily saying though that you can't judge or you shouldn't judge. You should keep your eyes on God while also maintaining an operation of strategies that enhances your probability to win, not to just hope for the best. Okay? So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.